Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are back in the series of talking about the principles of Inventure. And like we've mentioned in our previous conversation, we've got 5 principles. The one, we spoke about last time was creating space. And what follows on from that one in very close succession is slowing down. And even as I'm talking, as I say the words slowing down, I can feel myself wanting to actually slow down and to follow suit. And I'm going to hand over to Hanlie just to share what she is noticing to kick this conversation off, and just a bit of what's been going on in the people and the spaces that she finds herself in, and the conversations that she's part of. So Hanlie, give us some of your thoughts on slowing down.
Yeah, I've noticed recently with, in fact, 4 different leaders that I'm working with, it's almost a compulsion to double down when they're faced with a challenge or a challenging person, or something is happening in their organization or their leadership team, that they have a tendency to want to push harder and go faster, to resolve, to solve. And I very much have been encouraging them to rather slow down and notice what's going on, to self-regulate in some cases, to strategically think through and plan their next engagement or conversation if it's a person that they're dealing with. And it's in that slowing down that I think also a lot of realizations come in terms of not only themselves and their own leadership style or their behavioral patterns, but also a realization about what is happening for somebody else, or what is in the situation that they may not have noticed. Because, I mean, I think most of us know that, when you double down, your field of sight and noticing narrows as well. Because of the stress that builds up in the body around that, where if you slow down, you tend to be able to gather more information, see more broadly, notice things that you didn't notice before. And so that's kind of the balance that I'm trying to encourage them to do, is to play between slowing down and speeding up, and knowing when slowing down is helpful and necessary.
I think one of the things that people misunderstand about slowing down is that they think it is almost to put everything to the wayside and not have that drive towards, the result or the performance or the goal. I've had that feedback when I've spoken about slowing down, and everyone just says no. There's almost a visceral reaction to no, because everything in the context and environment is around more, as you say, double down, speed up, do more, be more, offer more, as opposed to what if we had to actually take our foot off somewhat and not lose line of sight, but it becomes more of a posture and almost a way of being than it does around a not being focused on a result, not driving towards something. And so I think that's something that often gets misread or misunderstood in the slowing down context. And I often wonder, how do you get people to do that, to see that slowing down actually allows you to open and to see more broadly and to take more in?
I think it comes in different forms for me, and as you're speaking, I have a tendency of thinking in analogies and stories, right? So the one thing that reminds me of is that professional athletes take time to rest and recover.
Yeah.
So that would be one thing to say to people, just from a pure physical perspective, as well as a mental perspective. You do need to take that time out, because if you keep on going as fast as you are and not taking time to slow down, like, burnout is inevitable. The other analogy is if you think about Formula One racing or any kind of racing around a track, when they come to a corner, they slow down so that they can handle the corner in a specific way and then speed up again. And this is a skill that they have, and I think this is a skill that human beings should have in the organizational space as well, is to understand that those points at which you slow down because you know that this is a curve, this is something that you need to navigate in a very particular way, will not detract from your overall speed, but it'll help you not crash, and maybe also crash other people in the process.
Yeah. I love the analogy of the racetrack. I think I haven't thought of it like that. And I think that makes my niece and nephew would love that. They are so into F1. So that really is a great analogy, because it does. I mean, it also challenges, like, none of us are built physiologically to just put our foot flat on. And I mean, we've all had to learn this, right? And I think it's a continual thing. Maybe I'm speaking just for myself, but a continual thing that comes back of when are you creating that space that allows you, mind, body, heart, soul, to actually slow down and to recalibrate and to reset. And then going back to our first conversation, how then do you do that with intentionality?
Absolutely. And again, it could be something that's micro, right? It can be that you sit down for 20 minutes and reflect every day, or meditate, or pray, or whatever that you do. You can build that into your routines and the way that you do that as well from a personal perspective. And maybe something to think about is, how might you create these chevrons where your team also learns how to slow down at certain places. So how can you structure or create a process that encourages people to do that in the workspace? Well, like, when you see this or when you notice that, that's the cue to maybe slow down.
Yeah. I think just the last thing I just want to add on that is, recently, in terms of some of the work I've been doing, one of the main points of feedback I've given leaders is to exactly that, to slow down when you're speaking, make sure that your message lands, like, just take a breath, let something settle, and ask a question. A question is such a wonderful way to create a pause, to slow things down, to allow people to think, to wonder, to not just respond off the cuff. But I think in how we engage with each other, we can offer those moments of pause, which is really an invitation to slow down. And I think we need that now more than we have probably before. So I guess going back to the question, just to wrap it up, is, again, in some ways, like, what is the trade-off? What is the trade-off between just not finding those micro moments in a conversation, in a day, in a team, in a the structure of how you operate? What is the trade-off that you are playing with when we don't create space and slow down? Yeah. All right. We'll be back with the next one. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, everybody.